Hey, Loco sports fans, welcome to another edition of Lowco FC. Gonna have to change the handle on because it's not the Loco Lowdown. This is the Loco FC podcast. We're covering all things soccer here in the Lowcountry, and I'm joined as always, Wesker, joined by Misael Garzon, head coach of the May River Sharks. And Misa, it's been a hectic week of Loco soccer, a lot going on, playoffs in full swing, and unfortunately, we lost a lot of teams. We do still have one South Carolina High School League team standing, and that's the Beaufort High boys, who are into the lower state final after an impressive run. They will take on Waccamaw in the lower state championship game on Monday after a 4-1 victory over Dre. A really impressive win from these Eagles, and now they're just two more wins away from an incredible state title. Still a lot of work to do, but just very, very impressed of what this Beaufort High team has done, coached by Terry Rollins, and he will be joined by the outstanding coach from the Eagles a little later on the show. But Misa, how are you doing? Of course, another excellent run by these May River Sharks. Outstanding win at home to keep the season alive. You got it done in penalties over West Florence, and then finishing off the season on the road. A very good AC Florida team in a 3-0 defeat. But all in all, just your reflections, your final thoughts on this May River boys soccer season.
Yeah, no, unfortunate loss Friday night against a very good AC Florida squad. I think the most disappointing part of that was if you go look at the game film or watch the game, we had a pretty good game. We had a lot of chances, just couldn't capitalize, whereas AC Florida did. So that's how soccer works. I told the boys at halftime, it's not about who has the better stats, who has the most shots, who has the prettier resume. It's about who can score and get the job done when you get to this point in the season. So still overall, very proud of our season. This is, like I said, during the season, this is the toughest schedule I've ever built for our program, and our team's pretty young. So it was good to see the boys grow and develop on the field, getting to the third round, something we hadn't done since 2019 when we won a state championship. So that's awesome to do. And also seeing our younger players grow and kind of develop, not just as players, but also as young men. This is when, all the successes off the court that we found have been phenomenal as well with our GPA and our players, scholars and everything. So great season overall. Sucks that it ends earlier than we'd like, but couldn't be prouder of what we accomplished this year.
And that's the most important part. It's more than just, building strong soccer players on the field. It's, enhancing these players to do great things when the time runs out on the field, to, continue that same hardworking mentality off the field towards, their studies in high school, and then towards their future work in college and beyond that. But once again, you've done a fantastic job building these young men to be outstanding leaders, the ambassadors of May River High School, which at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And, throughout this podcast season, we've talked to players that not only have been stellar athletes and soccer athletes here in the local, but also in the classroom. And that's something that we pushed around. I think all the coaches down here, something we all have in common is that we want to be successful on the field, but we're more focused on the success of the overall player and the overall human being, not just what can you do from your soccer field, but what can you do overall to help you grow and develop to the young person that you can be, to help you in that next phase, whether it's college, military, straight to work, whatever you choose to do after high school. We want the lessons that we can teach while here as coaches to kind of carry over and help you become a better person, a better human being, for the next chapter in your life. So that's something that I always take pride in. And, at the end of the day, I posted on Twitter when we got back from Florida Friday night around 12:30 in the morning. You would think everybody's ready to go home. The team was just hanging out. Literally, we got off the bus. They're hanging out on campus, and just hanging out to the point where the coaches and I were like, hey, guys, we're ready to get home. I got a 40-minute trip because I don't live in Bluffton. Love you guys. We'll come back next week and do our end of season meetings. But, that's what you want to see, end the season that way and see the boys react that way to a tough loss. So it's definitely great.
Yeah. I mean, it's always difficult to process that loss when your season ends like that. But these guys, know how to take it the right way and know how to, use it as fuel and motivation going forward. And, it's just great to see just the sportsmanship and just the class of this May River team as they, look forward to their next chapter and next season. And certainly always hurts to lose guys. And, every team has to suffer, losing some of your best guys to graduation. But you mentioned it's a young squad. There's a lot coming back. Who are some of the biggest names we should keep an eye on that will be coming back next year?
Jacob Madero's, I think, will be a big force that you keep an eye on. Lonzo Pena are two rising seniors that have been with the program since their freshman year for the varsity program. They're part of that COVID team, post-COVID team that kind of started this chapter we're in now. Hayden, our defender, as a sophomore, stepped in this year to kind of starting as a defender in the new formation that we ran and has done a phenomenal job. We've had a lot of players that we've caught up from JV to varsity that have been stepped in, with injuries that we've had, players have had to step up, and they've done so. So it's going to be good. It's a good problem to have, where you're rebuilding and you can still say you made it to the third round. So we're definitely looking forward to what should be a very strong 2024 campaign,
Lots to like about the future of this boys program, but how about the May River girls as well,
Yeah.
getting to that third round of the playoffs? Upset 1-0 over Myrtle Beach. Tremendous job to come in over there and pull out the upset victory over the Seahawks. So, first time they're getting that shot in the playoffs, and they make the most of it all the way to the third round. What an accomplishment for that group of girls.
Yeah, no, and again, they also had made it to the third round since 2019 when we were in 3A. So
Right.
kudos to Coach Moldenhauer and the girls team. I mean, nobody had them here. They're also a young squad, believe it or not. So it's always good for us at Mary River High School to have our two soccer programs go all the way to a third round like we did. But went up to Myrtle Beach. Myrtle Beach was a 2 seed in the playoffs, pulled the upset, and got a clean sheet on a long road trip. Unfortunately, couldn't get it done against Lucy Beckham, a fourth time that they played this season Saturday, but still lots to be proud of for that program. Like I said, not many people had them going to the playoffs, much less going to the third round. But Wes, you and I have spoken all season about how difficult this region is. And are we
Guess
really
who the two
surprised?
finalists are in the lower state?
Mm-hmm.
James Allen and Lucy Beckham. I mean, it's just crazy to think about how dominant that region has been and how all those teams just became battle tested from playing each other all year round, and we see that in coming into fruition here in the playoffs. James Allen just edging AC Florida in penalty kicks. Lucy Beckham getting past May River to set up and a region them for a title clash to determine who moves on to the state championship. So that should be a great win over there this week as Beckham takes on James Island. And we still have a Lowco team fighting for a state title in the South Carolina High School League because the Beaufort boys are on their way to the Class 3A lower state championship game after what has been a tremendous run. Very similar to what we've been seeing this entire year for Beaufort High Athletics. The magic is still there. And this time it's for the soccer team, 4-1 victory over Dreher. They've beaten Swansea 3-1, Georgetown 5-2, and they take down the Dreher 4-1 at home to clinch their spot in the lower state final coming up on Monday. So once again, lots of excitement for that program. And how awesome is it for Coach Terry Wallens?
Yeah, no, absolutely. A strong region. I think they went 14-2 this year. They won the region, which is probably the toughest region in the lower state in 3A with Philip Simmons and Hanahan, who are 3 top 10 teams. And so very happy for them and for that program, what they've achieved. And now they're going to go into a tough Monday where they're going to go face a very tough Waccamaw squad on the road, that very long road trip on a Monday night, to play for a spot in the state championship. But we've also talked about the championship culture that Beaufort has built the fall season, and it's carried over. So it's not surprising to see what they've done. Last year, we talked about the run at the end of the season to go into the playoffs, beating May River, beating James Island, and sneaking into the playoffs. This year, they just kind of picked up where they left off, and they won in convincing fashion these playoffs. Dreher was not an easy opponent, to say. Dreher won their Region 5. They were a very solid squad coming into it, and for them to win the way they did, 4-1 convincingly, I think it's going to be. Wouldn't be surprised if they get on to play next weekend in Columbia for a state title.
Well, we are honored to have Terry Rollins, the head coach of the Beaufort Eagles, join us here in the podcast. Terry, welcome and congratulations on what's been an amazing playoff run so far.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Coach, just describe the emotions of these last few weeks, getting into winning that region title. So much emotion on the field when you're able to pull that one off and carry that excitement over to the playoffs with 3 tremendous wins. Just describe the whirlwind that this last week has been for the Beaufort Soccer Eagles.
Man, listen, it's just been a great feeling. First of all, I want to thank you guys for being here. I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, because without him, this ain't possible. Okay. The emotions was tremendous. That win to win the region, that was incredible. For my seniors, I've got some kids who's been with me for a long time. Okay, 4 or 5 years. Sam Trask, Ben Christian, Beck Schwerin. To see these guys celebrate, and for some of the younger guys coming forward, like Eduardo Lozer and Diego and Cesar, see these guys understanding what the culture of winning is. It was tremendous, man. It was just great. It's been great. It's been very relaxed though. Practices was just kind of like, okay, we know what we got to do. The tactical part of the game has been established, and now when it's game time, we're just going to execute that.
Yeah, no. So, Coach, talking about going into this season, what were the expectations that you had for the team after the way you guys finished last year? Beating May River the last of the season, then beating James Island to get into the playoff spot, and then going down to 3A, and then seeing that you were in a region where preseason Philip Simmons was number 1 in 3A, Hanahan and is now a top 10 program. So arguably the toughest region in 3A, and then seeing the schedule matchup, right? You played the same team twice in 1 week.
Yes.
Did you see yourself now being a region champion and then getting ready for a lower state championship game?
I'll put it this way, man. Every game is a playoff game. All right. And I tell you that when we played you guys the first game down there at your place, I think that woke the guys up. I think they kind of realized what I was trying to get into their heads. Hey, listen, we can compete with anybody. All right. If it's 11 against 11, it's not 15 against 11. It's 11 against 11. If you do your job, soccer is a game of 1v1 across the field. If you do your job in your position, we will be all right. And I keep telling them, hey, I want to play on May 13th. I want to play on May 13th. That has been the driving thing. So we are 2 steps away from that. The expectations, like you asked earlier, what was that? The expectations just to keep playing. We just want to keep playing until they say we can't play no more, which is probably next week Saturday. That is the expectation. So,
yeah. Well, you're 1 win away from getting to that final destination over there on May 13th and playing for the ultimate prize. But so far it has been a very impressive run to the playoffs. Not just winning, but putting on some really impressive showings in dominant fashion. 3-1 over Swansea, 5-2 over Georgetown, and 4-1 over Dreher. What has really clicked for you guys over this postseason run? Maybe some stuff that that you mentioned that you found late in the regular season that you've been able to carry over to the playoffs.
We got a spine, man. We got a spine. We got Bell and Go. That's Mr. Allstate. We in good hands. He's our shot stopper. Got the 2 big guys in the back, Jack and Brendan Ford. Pretty much a wall. And then my 2 central midfielders, and then my goal scorer, Beck Schwerin. I think he has like 15 goals. And so straight down the middle of the field, we got that spine. Okay. Solid bunch of seniors. There's 12 seniors on the team. And I think, they like, we don't want to leave here without doing something that's memorable. So coming over from last year, they kind of felt that. It's like, wait a second, now we can run with anybody. So I didn't have to preach a whole lot based on let us go out there and show what we can do. You all had my captain on here a couple of weeks ago, Ben Christian, solid leader, man. In the dressing room. I don't go in the dressing room right at halftime anymore. He gets it. Him and Jack, they get it. They get in these guys' faces, and it's like, hey, we here to play soccer. We want to go to the state. Now, that being said, talk is cheap. Okay, we have a game on Monday night, and it's a long road trip. However, let me get some shout out to some of the moms out there, some of the parents. They're taking care of me, man. Okay, they know who they are. I don't want to call no names, because I don't want to miss anybody. But they're taking care of us, taking care of the boys, taking care of the coaches, man, and that's been a tremendous help. Just moving forward. So tomorrow, when we travel to Waccamaw, I remember when I played in California, I remember telling the fellas, I say, just like in war, there's no second place. There's no second place in this tournament now. It's a one win or go home, one game at a time. Let's go.
No one remembers who comes in second. It's all about coming on top and taking the big prize. And then you guys have certainly worked your way towards a great shot at that. You guys are taking on Wakama, as you mentioned. What do you know about that squad from your initial analysis?
I nothing. Um, I watched a little bit of something about them on YouTube. Pretty much similar to Dreer. Got a few tips from some of my sources. I can't mention any names, but we are going in to the game. We respect every opponent. We respect every opponent. I don't care who it is, but you got to beat us. It is that simple. You got to beat us. We are not going to lay down and play dead. We coming at you. We coming at you 100 miles an hour. We'll play defense first. We always do. Defense wins championships. We'll play defense first. We get organized that way, and then we see what happens. We counter attack or whatever we got to do. But like I said, we respect our opponents very much. I've seen them play a little bit on YouTube, so I know what they have based on the technical aspect of their game. They got a lot of guys who got good touch on the ball and stuff like that. That's great. We do too. So it's going to be a nice matchup.
Now, historically, you've been at Buford. I think this is your 10th or 11th season as the boys coach, correct? If I'm not
Man,
mistaken.
I've lost count, man. I know I got to Buford in 2006 when I retired from the United States Air Force, and I coached the girls for a bit. I think up until 2012, I think.
Yeah, I think it's 11th season because that's when I kind of started with you. So, in the 11 years you've been at Buford, this is the first time you guys have reached a championship in years. This is the first time that Buford High boys soccer has been to a lower state championship since that memorable game ages ago against Wando, a 4-3 final that many folks may not. So, talk to us about your experience being the girls coach when you came to Buford High School and then transitioning to the boys coach, and then kind of where you started, the struggles throughout the years, and where the program is now.
Man, listen, I was thinking about that. I know you was going to ask me something like that. I can never remember a time I wasn't coaching. See, back in Trinidad, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, of course. When I was playing back there, I remember the Alvin Cornell coaching school. We practiced Saturdays, Sundays. And I remember in 1980, so that made me about 18 years old. He trusted me with a bunch of kids to go to Canada in this tournament, right? So I've been coaching a long time. As far as the culture at Buford High School, we believe in ourselves. We know that, right? Teams coming in a lot of times don't respect that. We don't have a bunch of clubs here and all of that. As far as changing the culture, there was really nothing to change based on. And let me just give a shout out to a person who has really, really helped me, which means I don't have a lot of work to do. That's Emer Hernandez. He is probably the best technical coach
in the area.
I don't know how he does it. He has been responsible for his players in every school in Beaufort County. Mm-hmm. Somewhere, Hilton Head, May River, Bluffton, there's players who played for him. And I'm a recipient of that. So guys are coming in. My job now is to just teach them tactics where you need to be on the field. Right. So as far as, having to change the culture or anything like that, not necessarily, but I tell you, as young men, I do very little coaching of soccer. I more coach life. Okay. I want to know where you're going to be in 5 years. Because for the truth be told, how many of these young people are going to go on to play professional soccer, whatever? They're going to go into the real world and be in corporate America, be in the government, be in the military even. How are you going to do that? What are you going to do after you leave me here at Buford High School? So it's been a journey, man. It's been a great journey. I've been, coming out of the military and coming into this environment. I was a first sergeant in the Air Force, which means I take care of people. I still do that. I love it. I love dealing with the young people. People tell me I'm crazy, but I love dealing with teenagers. It is. I just love listening to the stuff that they have to say and just trying to give them a nudge in the right direction. That's all.
Oh, what a great experience there to be part of the armed forces for that time. And what did you learn from that experience over the time of your life? Now, have you kind of adopted those mentalities and transitioned them over to being a soccer coach and teaching and influencing these young men?
Listening. I actually do teach a class on listening. It is We've learned how to do a lot of things. We've learned how to ride a bike, we've learned how to run, we've learned how to jump. No one teaches anyone how to listen. Listening is the ability to make sense of what you're hearing. Okay. So me meeting a young man in the hallway, it's like, what are you going to do? Okay, here's a question. Today is the 6th of May, 2023. What are you going to be doing at the 6th of May in 2033? And he just looked at me with blank stare. I said, do you have a plan? Do you have a goal? What's up? So that's my mission, man. My mission is to meet, using soccer as a vehicle. As a matter of fact, I really want to introduce soccer into the Black community here in Beaufort, South Carolina. Right? That's one of the things. That's one of the missions I have into wherever that is, to get these kids, because a lot of them don't feel like they should be playing soccer. As a matter of fact, throughout the state of South Carolina, and I've been into a lot of schools, I've only met one African-American coach as a high school coach in the state of South Carolina. So coming out of the military, where we work as a team, okay, we know what the mission is. So once I can instill that in these young people, okay, the mission of Beaufort High School soccer program is to keep playing until somebody beat us. That's it. We have won 12 in a row, and we want to keep that rolling, especially for this year, because I want to be very special, like I say, for my group of seniors, man. Ben Christian, Sam Trash, Jack, Cashel Bowles, and on and on and on, Nigel Bell, and the likes.
Yeah, no, and so something that I've mentioned throughout, for those of you that watch the podcast, I am from the Terry Rollins coaching tree. He gave me my first coaching job as a JV coach at Beaufort High. The man didn't know me from anyone else. Through a connection, Mr. Drake told me about an opening. I applied. Terry, I didn't even interview. He came. He's like, "Okay, what do you like to run? What do you know? All right, cool. Let's go. Let's get to work." And one of the things that you were big on teaching me then was the importance of investing in the player as a person, not so much on the athlete. And that's something we see throughout in your years coaching, right? When you started in 2006, even when you were playing back in your day, what are some of the changes you've noticed in our youth now, and some of the challenges you faced as a coach and as a mentor and as a teacher with our youth today?
They're not playing enough. Okay. There's too much coaching going on. Way too much coaching going on. There's no place where you just go see soccer being played. When I grew up back in Trinidad, I played soccer every day, man. Every day. Coach. I didn't have a coach till I was like 15 years old. Right? So that's one of the things right now. It's like, if the coach is not there, we don't know what to do. We don't even know how to set up 2 goals and play. Right? So, and I think the culture has changed into this club mentality, or this so much organized, even pals. It's like, the kids are lined up in lines. One of the things I learned from the NSCAA was 3 things you stay away from: lines, laps, and lectures. Lines, laps, and lectures. The kids want to play soccer. You understand? And I don't think it's the kids' fault. I think we just don't trust them to go outside and play. Go outside in the street and juggle a soccer ball, do something to make your game better. So I don't want to blame it on the kids. Given the opportunity and given the space, man, we can grow it. We can definitely grow it. There's too much coaching going on. There's too much tactical this, tactical that. Man, listen, at under 10, what are we talking about? 3-5-2 and 4-5-1. What are we talking about? Man, just put them on the field. Small-sided games, get megged, get your ankles broke, talk about it. Just have fun. Even in the street, you know what I mean? But it's just too much. Soccer is pay to play, and that needs to stop.
And when you look at the full view of soccer, in the end, it's a game, and the ultimate goal is to have fun and better yourself, and enjoy quality time with friends and teammates that you have developed. And this team has really exemplified that to a T. I mean, you look at the relationships that these seniors have developed over these years, and the bonds that they forged, that those have been huge, developments in allowing this team to pursue the goals that they've now achieved. So, just reflect on this group of seniors, how much they've enjoyed, playing soccer, having fun out there, and how has that helped them to achieve this couple outstanding goals to get to this point.
Give me that last part of the question again. I'm sorry.
Yeah. just reflect on this group of seniors and
Okay.
how they've embraced the idea of having fun and playing for themselves out there and playing for that team. How fun has it been able to coach that group?
One of the things that really help is when the guys come back. Okay. Like, on New Year's Day, we have this game. New Year's Day, we have this game where the alumni come back and these guys talk about their experiences and what Coach Rollins is trying to get you to understand. The main thing is what I think the seniors have now understood is that the game is simple. Okay. We make it complicated. Guys get paid millions of dollars for playing the ball 2 touches. They have kind of embraced that now, understanding that you can you score goals and you can do whatever you want. All right. So a lot of them have learned and understand that. So now they're having fun. Don't try to dribble your way out of frustration. It doesn't work. You just get worse. So this group of seniors, Nigel Bell, Kaiser, I call him Kaiser, Geyer, Jack, Duncan this is my first year with Duncan Carr, Ben Christian, Sam Trask, Cashel Bowles, Beck Schwerin, Bryce Phillips, I call him Hollywood. My neighbor here, Evan Lippy, right? These guys, I don't even warm them up anymore. You understand? I'm not even part of the warm up. They got it. They know what to do. So it's really good having some guys who've been around me for a while and just watch them grow. And I hope that some of them get into coaching. I really do. Because they're some phenomenal young men based on how they explain things. I listen to them in the dressing room. They don't think I listen, but I do. Hearing how they analyze in the game and things we need to do going back in the second half. So it makes my job really easy. So I really appreciate those guys, man. And I got a nice group of juniors coming through. Soon here, they will be the ones that's taking the helm. So
no, definitely. So a lot of folks may not know the history of Coach Rollins. You've played soccer for a very long time. You spoke a little earlier. You were at Trinidad when you were young, growing up and coaching. But they also know while you were in the Air Force, you were playing for a semi-pro team. So we actually have a clip that we're going to pull up here of Coach Terry Rollins back in his heyday. Just look at this. Look at the uniforms. I mean, look at this. There he is. There he is. You guys see that? I mean, just class and quality. So in case that's him right there. You guys see him right there. Yep, with the Ukraine color jerseys.
With the afro.
So the history, right? You and I have spoken numerous times about back in the day. And one thing I laughed when you said keep it simple, because that's something you always told me all the time. When I would come to you frustrated about something, especially with the JV program in the May River, you're like, Misa, just keep it simple. Football is simple. How does that apply in life? And throughout your years with playing the game and at the levels that you played and everything you've done, how does that apply in life that we can teach our young people today?
Well, man, at the end of the day, what did you do to make some progress today? What did you do? That every day is a day to learn something. And I tell the students in class every day, if you come to school and you go back home the same person that you came in the building this morning, what are you doing? Okay. Soccer players, what are you doing to improve? If you don't have a friend, there's a ball on the wall. The wall is not going to talk back to you if you make a bad pass. You just going to have to run for the ball. You know what I'm saying? So keeping life simple, man. There's simple things that I have a friend in Uganda right now. His name is Nzigi. I met him back in '94 during the Hotel Rwanda refugee crisis when I was a combat cameraman over there. And he sent me some pictures. And I think we take a lot of things for granted. So when I see stuff like that, and I've been in that situation, when I see people fussing about the fact that they don't have certain things, that is not necessary, really. We have been really spoiled. All right. Keep life simple, man. You have food, you have clothing, you have shelter. Most of all, do you have Jesus Christ? I believe in him. Do you have God in your life? Keep that balance. And everything is going to fall into place. Understand that the only thing that doesn't have patience is a clock. You understand? It's going to keep moving. You can't stop it. So what are you doing to make sure that you have that balance? To know that, okay, I'm okay right now. I'm okay right now. What do I need to be okay? I got a roof over my head. I got a beautiful family. I got my grandsons here with me right now. That's awesome. My wife, I got a good job. Just keep it simple. You know what I mean? It's like we spend so much time worrying about stuff that we can't take with us if we kick the bucket right now. You can't take it with you. So how are you serving humanity? Well, how would people remember you, right? How would people say, well, how was Misael as a person? How many people did he affect positively? And let me just say this on Misa's behalf. Now, you came to me, you was my JV coach, and based on the stuff you have accomplished and the kind of coach you have become, I will work under you because you have become one of those guys who truly understand the game. Being able to tell players where to be, how to do it, that kind of stuff. And I really admire that about you, even though you came to me first. I would have no problem working for you, man, because I'm a student of the game. I'm going to be a student of the game. I'm 60 years old. I got so it's life is simple, man, and keep it that way. Just keep it that way. Don't fuss. You got what you need. You got food, clothing, shelter. Let's move on.
Yeah, so we are here once again. Coach Terry Rollins, head coach of the Beaufort High boys soccer team, who is currently number 2 in the state based on the coaches' polls that was released. They are getting ready to go to Waccamaw for the lower state championship to play for a spot in the state championship. So, Coach, I know you got to get ready. It's a late night. It's past your bedtime, with older folks and everything.
Yes, sir.
We're going to do the most difficult thing you probably do this week, and that is a penalty shootout. I am going to ask you 5 questions. You know how penalty shootout works. Are you ready for the penalty shootout?
Let me tell you something. So in my soccer career, I've missed 1 penalty, right? And you always remember it because it hurts. I missed a penalty in a soccer tournament in Baltimore in 1995. I was playing for the Angelics Club. A Trinidadian guy was stationed at Andrew Jeff was based in Washington, D.C., and I missed my penalty. So I don't want to miss another one, but go ahead. I'm ready.
All right, so here we go. Question number 1. What is your current favorite soccer team?
Chelsea. Easy. Let's go.
Tough season right now.
Oh, man. But you know what? We're going to be all right.
Question number 2. Who is your all-time favorite football player, soccer player?
Edson Arantes do Nascimento, the great Pelé, number 10, Brazil.
Rest in peace to the legend. Number 3. What is your best soccer coaching memory?
Wow. My best soccer coaching memory. It's been a lot, man. When I was a young man in Trinidad, the older gentleman in the village told me that I was going to be in charge of a bunch of grown men. I was about 20 years old. These guys were guys I would watch play when I was younger. And now the guys trusting me to say, you're going to be in charge of those guys. And I was like, okay, let's go. So that made me realize, okay, there's people trusting my knowledge, trusting, my ability to bring people together and get them to do the right thing on the soccer field.
That's a good one. So I think your son Gerald is questioning your Chelsea. He says that's a miss, but we'll get to that. That's a family matter later.
I got an Arsenal fan in the house, and it sucks, bro, but it's all good. And I got kids on the team hating on Chelsea too, so it's all good. They might be sitting on the bench tomorrow.
Wow, there you go. You heard it here first. Loco breaking news. Lowco FC. Question number 4: what is your funniest or most embarrassing soccer coaching memory?
Woo. Embarrassing soccer coaching memory. I don't want to call any names, but I was coaching a game, and my team played with 12 players for a while.
That wasn't during my time, was it?
I ain't calling no time frame. I'm not calling any time frame, but
I'm going to investigate that report to the high school.
I had to point, get off you. I can't get off the field. Hey man, it's like I wasn't counting. My bad. Referee didn't get it. So
all right. That last question for our penalty shootout. What is your all-time favorite movie?
Diary of a Mad Black Woman. Bruh,
that's a shocker.
Listen to me.
Every
male should watch that movie. Be careful how you treat people. Be very careful. You don't know who's gonna be wiping your butt when you get older. or you might get hurt. So I'm just saying.
Well, Coach, it was a pleasure to have you on. We congratulate you on a fantastic run to the Lower State Championship, and we wish you the best of luck on Monday against Waccamaw.
Thank you, guys. Hey, we're looking forward to keeping it in the Lowcountry. We're going to go out there and give 100%. That's all we can do, and that's all I ask the guys. If you do 100% in your position and your job, you do 100%, and the team beat us, they're better than us. That's it.
Well, go finish the job, and hopefully we'll be celebrating the state championship a week from now on the podcast.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
You too. Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Thank you again to Coach Terry Rollins. We'll be right back with more to preview the Skiza brackets here on Lowco FC.
Hey, Lowco sports fans. This podcast and all of our grassroots local sports content are made possible by support from community sponsors, including Mickelson Law Firm, the official real estate attorneys of Lowco Sports, and the presenting sponsor of our Hilton Head Christian Academy coverage. Our original sponsors are still among our greatest supporters. Ryan and Tiffany Mickelson are community pillars who will be in your corner no matter your legal needs. When you need legal representation, call on the attorneys who support Team Lowco. Call Mickelson Law Firm. Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, the official hospice provider of Lowco Sports, and the only not-for-profit hospice in southern Beaufort County. For more than 30 years, the committed, compassionate staff at Hospice Care of the Lowcountry have been there to ensure your loved ones find comfort, honor, and dignity at the end of life. Because at Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, it's not about dying, it's about living. Homegrown Home Inspections, the official home inspectors of Lowco Sports. Jan Lucas and his team provide thorough, detailed home inspections aimed to ensure everyone goes into the transaction with open eyes and confidence. Jan would rather reveal an inconvenient truth than look the other way and provide reassurances that could come back to burn the buyer in the long run. If you're looking to buy or sell a home and need an honest, reliable inspector, call on Homegrown Home Inspections, official sponsors of Lowco Sports. DDS Web Design, official SEO experts of Lowco Sports. If your business or organization has a website and you're trying to figure out what SEO is, you need to call on Denise and Dave Sinkovich at DDS Web Design. They'll provide a free consultation and do all the behind-the-scenes work to boost your search engine optimization and get your website found online so you can take your business to the next level. DDS Web Design, official SEO experts of Lowco Sports. American Wood Reface, sustaining sponsors of Lowco Sports. Does your kitchen need a facelift? Before you start picking out new cabinets, give Ben and the team at American Wood Reface a shot. They can reface your existing cabinets to overhaul your aesthetic without the hefty price tag and reimagine your kitchen at a price point you can manage. Be sure to tell them Lowco sent you because every referral helps support Lowco Sports. 4M Metals, sustaining sponsor of Lowco Sports. Got metal? Your roof might need it. Metal roofing advantages include better energy efficiency, weather protection, longevity, a more aesthetically pleasing design, and the product is all green. So if you've been thinking about a new roof, go metal. Let 4M Metals be the difference in your roof. Jay's Barbershop. It's the talk of the town and the place to be in Ridgeland. If you need your ears lowered, head over to Jay's for a fresh cut and great conversation with good folks. And tell them Lowco sent you. Local Pie, official pizza sponsor of Lowco Sports. They sling some of the best pies in the Lowco, and my kids say the mac and cheese is the best around. Hungry? Hit up Local Pie, longtime supporter of Lowco Sports.
Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry, the official floor cleaners of Lowcosports.com. If your feet tell you your floors need cleaning, call on Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry. They provide residential and commercial services, including cleaning carpet and area rugs, tile and grout, upholstery, curtains and drapes, mattresses, and more. But most importantly, they'll get those floors so clean, your feet will thank them. Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry.
Hilton Head Prep is a sustaining sponsor of Lowco Sports. And we tell you all about the Dolphins' athletic exploits. But did you know it's also the #1 ranked private K-12 school in Beaufort County and ranks in the top 2.5% of schools nationwide? Visit hhprep.org to see what Hilton Head Prep has to offer. Beaufort Academy is a sustaining sponsor of Lowco Sports, and we love covering the Eagles. With a student-to-faculty ratio of 7-1 and an average class size of 14 students, Beaufort Academy could be just the educational solution you're looking for, with more one-on-one attention. BA has a strong history of working with the whole child to prepare each student for college and life. Check them out at BeaufortAcademy.org. Thank you to all of our sustaining and supporting sponsors for their support of Lowcosports.com. Go Lowco!
And we are back here on Lowco FC, West Kerr alongside Misael Garzon and Misa. We say all the time, across this podcast network, the amazing interviews that we've had the last few weeks, but Terry Rollins was, in every word, outstanding. It was awesome to hear his full story, coming from Trinidad and Tobago and just hearing about his roots and the steps he took when he was in the military to, become that true leader and fighter and a warrior as a coach, as a veteran, as a growing man who, has just delivered so much trust in his players and is also a great motivational speaker. And we heard about some of his amazing life lessons that you can take with you on the soccer field and most importantly beyond. So just what an honor to hear from Coach Rollins, who has just done amazing work on and off the field at Beaufort High this spring.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had the pleasure of knowing this man for over a decade now. Again, he gave me my first coaching gig as a JV soccer coach, so I wouldn't be where I am today if not him giving that opportunity. So he'll always have a special place in my life. But yeah, I mean, this is who he is. This is him. Like, this is what he is in school. If you see him day to day at Beaufort High School, he cares about these students. He cares about these kids. He's looking to invest. He wants everyone to be successful that he crosses path with, and he's used it all his life, and that's how he is. This is a Terry Rollins you guys saw in every day. It's exactly how he is. When you sit with him and have coffee out, when you see him in school working, when you see him on a soccer field training or coaching, this is the person that he is. And it was great to get to interview him here for the first time and just kind of hear his story and kind of where he's come from and where he is now. So it makes it even that much better to root for him in this program and the success they've had this year.
We're all on his side now, and we're all on the side of that Beaufort Eagles squad, who has been an awesome story these last few weeks. Just winning that region title was amazing enough, but what they've been able to do, carry that momentum into the postseason and now get to 2 wins away from a state championship is an incredible feat. And rooting for the Eagles the rest of the way to see if they can cap off this athletic season with another memorable title. So we're all on your side, Coach Rollins. Good luck and get the job done. 2 more wins to go for that Eagles squad, and 3 more wins to go, and 2 in some cases for a couple of these Skeeza sides, because the brackets were released this past Friday, I believe, as we are getting ready for Skeeza playoffs, which will start tomorrow across the Lowcountry and across the state. So let's get those brackets up right now here on the screen. Let's start with the Class 3A boys and girls. If we can pull it up real quick. And out of this 3A girls bracket, Hilton Head Prep, who has had a tremendous home stretch of the year, they earned the number 1 seed in that side of the bracket. They'll face Northside Christian on Monday, and that could set up a rematch for another round of Hilton Head Prep JP2. We have had, I believe, 3 because one had to be replayed. So those 2 teams have seen each other a lot, and they could see each other one more time with everything on the line in the state semifinal.
Absolutely. And you see Hilton Prep being the 1 seed, not really surprising given the late surge they had this season. John Paul, the 2 seed. We knew that the Lowcos would be very well represented in 3A with our boys and girls soccer program. So I think very likely it'll be a rematch, a local rematch between Hilton Head Prep and John Paul. Hopefully they do have it right official that time when they do it in the rematch for a spot at the state championship. But, last game they played a few days ago. Prep only won 2-1 at John Paul. So it's going to be a very close matchup. And when you're playing for a spot in the state championship, we said it before, last year Prep's goal was to go to the state championship. They fell short before they could get to that game. So they are looking to kind of right that ship. And John Paul's looking to say, hey, no, we want to be able to play for a state championship as well. So look for that to be a very, very good matchup on Wednesday, probably if the 2 teams get the job done Monday.
Yeah, and that would be at Hilton Head Prep on Wednesday, and would be a fantastic clash against 2 teams that could either represent the Lowcountry on that half of the bracket in the state championship game. And then you get Hilton Head Christian Academy lurking as the number 4 seed on the other side. And certainly it's been a tougher than expected maybe year for the Eagles, who are back-to-back defending state champs. But you still have Abby Paduzzi. You still have Devin Yard. You cannot count out those girls come playoff time.
Yeah, and it's going to be a tough matchup for Shannon Forest. They're they're coming in as a 1 seed, and they've earned that 1 seed for a reason. There isn't much on them online as far as what they've done. But like you said, Christian Academy is a very solid squad. It's had a tough season, but they're still a solid squad that could pull off the upset here in the first round on the other side of the bracket. It's going to be a tough matchup. Drive to Greenville is going to be tough as well. Those road trips do take a toll on you as a player, whether it's 2 hours away or 4 hours away as they'll be driving to. So hopefully they'll be able to come through and pull an upset and beat the 1 seed.
I would not doubt them any one bit, especially with those girls who know how to win state championships. I mean, it's a winning culture. You look at basketball, you look what they've done there. They know how to get it done in the brightest lights and the biggest moments. And, that veteran leadership of Peduzzi, a bunch of those other seniors that we've seen, produce for multiple Christian Academy sports programs and units throughout these last few years. They're going to put back a fight against Shannon Forest, but it won't be easy going on the road against a very, very strong Shannon Forest team, and maybe some revenge for that squad, because I believe some of those basketball players remember they lost to HHGA, I believe, in the championship round of that basketball tournament. So maybe they'll have their eyes on some revenge possibly, but if some of those players are on the soccer field. But either way, it's going to be a great match, and I think it's anyone's game. And if HHGA can pull the upset on the road as the 4th seed, all bets are off against Christian Academy of Myrtle Beach or Spartanburg Day. So let's go over to the 3A boys side of things. Hilton Head Christian Academy also on that side facing Oak Brook Prep as the 4th seed. And then JP2 coming off that trip to state title match a year ago facing Florence Christian. Gold Warriors playing some strong soccer this year, and they are eyeing another trip to the state title game. They'll probably have to get through Oak Brook Prep unless Hilton Head Christian Academy knocks them off, and we could have another all-loco game.
Yeah, Oak Brook Prep looks to be strong again this year as they were last year. They are the defending champions. So it's interesting because Christian Academy is going to have to travel up to face a tough challenge. If they can pull the upset, then we're going to have possibly 2 Lowco teams playing in the semifinals as well, and it will be at John Paul, assuming John Paul beats Florence Christian. But if Christian cannot pull the upset, you're looking at a rematch of last year's state championship game in the semifinals. Now, I don't know how the brackets worked out, but that's a very tough matchup for John Paul to go back and say, okay, this is a team that beat us last year for the state championship, that stopped us from being able to achieve what we wanted. We plan on going back this year, and now you get to play them potentially a round earlier at Oakwood Prep. The trip is going to be a factor. John Paul should take care of matters with Florence Christian. So it will be a very interesting matchup if we get the results we think we're going to have in the first round on Thursday at round 2 for that rematch of last year's state championship game.
Yeah, and I expect it to be a heck of a fight between those two teams if we get it again. John Paul, too, with the extra motivation of coming up short and some players that are going to want to rewrite the script and make it go differently this time. So tough match for Hilton Head Christian Academy, but you never know what can happen in a one-game playoff. But I do like Oak Brook Prep's chances of getting past the Eagles and moving on to face most likely JP2 in that championship rematch. So let's take a look at some of the other brackets. Let's go to Class 2A. We have the 2A boys and then the 1A, 2A girl, which I believe are combined. If we can expand that real quick here and take a look at these two brackets. Starting with the 2A boys. So Buford Academy earning the 2 seed. They will face Marlboro in the quarterfinal round on Tuesday. Buford Academy, a team that has had some success this year, rounding the form at a good time. What do you expect from these Eagles here? They get to be home against Marlboro Academy. If they win, they'll have to travel to Christian Academy Myrtle Beach, which not going to be easy to do on the road and knock them off. But what do you think about the Eagles' chances on the 2A boys side?
I think Buford Academy, the boys are stinging from last year's first round upset. They had a first round home match. They were favored to win, and they were upset. And I think that's been motivation for them to change that and right that ship this year. With Marlboro Academy, don't know much of Marlboro Academy. If you look online, there's not much on them, but they've been a solid squad. Like you said, they play some tough matches too. So getting to play the likes of John Paul and Christian Academy, they even took a challenge playing against Academic Magnet, which is a 2A powerhouse in the public school side. I think Coach Leslie was preparing his squad for this, learn the lessons from last year as a first-year coach and that first-round upset that they had at home They don't want to make that same mistake again. So I think the boys will be focused and go into it and get a first-round win. And then, like you said, it's going to be a very tough matchup in the second round, having to travel 4 hours up the coast to Myrtle Beach to play a very solid Christian Academy squad. But I think the way that Buford Academy has played this year and the opponents they've played, you and I have said this throughout our podcast, iron sharpens iron, and especially in Skeeza down here where we have a lot of talented teams. I think that'll come to show itself here in the playoffs where you want it to show itself the most as a coach.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Play these 3A squads throughout the Lowco, these quality sides, and just to find that spark and know that you can play well against good teams. And Ian Leslie has really challenged this group this year. There's the sting. The sting is still there from what we saw last year, and that's just going to push them even harder to complete those passes, get that hustle to cut off loose balls, just all the extra effort plays that add up in winning a game of soccer. I mean, that's what it takes in the playoffs. Every play is magnified in these situations, and I think Buford Academy is going to find a way to make a little more of those 50-50 balls, those close kind of plays during a game, and that'll up to I think what will be a hard-fought win in their first round, and then just going to let the chips fall to where they may if they get a shot over at Christian Academy of Myrtle Beach in that semifinal bout. So we wish the BA Eagles and Coach Leslie best of luck, and let's head over to the 1A 2A because those classifications are combined here. We got Buford Academy earning a bye all the way to the semifinals against fellow Loco squad Patrick Henry and Charleston Collegiate winner. That one will face BA. And then Holy Trinity with a lot of fantastic history over the years. On the girls' side, they've won a bunch of state championships these last few years. They are also already in the semifinals, and they will face Cambridge on Wednesday. So potential for a Loco-on-Loco state championship match here in this combined 1A, 2A girls bracket.
Yeah, absolutely. And Patrick Henry will get it started with a home match in the first round against Charleston Collegiate. Patrick Henry girls have had a decent season. They tied Holy Trinity a few weeks ago, and it went to penalty shootouts where Holy Trinity won. And then the Buford Academy girls, we talked about them. They've had a very solid season. Great young players that they've had, phenomenal. And so they're going to be the home side. They're going to probably be the favorites against potentially Patrick Henry or Charleston Collegiate. But coming from experience, getting a first round bye is so important, especially when you have the playoffs end in 1 week. With soccer, recovery time is a big important thing, especially with the smaller Skeeza schools where you don't have much depth. So them being able to take Monday off and get ready for Wednesday will be crucial as they get ready to host. And then Holy Trinity going to Cambridge Academy. That trip is going to be a struggle again with Skeeza. They play all over the state. But if they are able to pull the upset, because like you said, Holy Trinity has had a lot of success, a lot of state championships. That is one of the best girls soccer programs in our area. You're looking at potentially a local championship match for the 1A and 2A girls in Skeeza.
We would love to see it. And Holy Trinity, they've had that experience for a while now in this program, but never easy to go on the road against the pretty solid Cambridge Academy squad, having to go up to play this combined 1A, 2A bracket with the new realignment. So BA and Holy Trinity right there, both competing for that title, and Patrick Henry could have a say in that as well. So looking forward to seeing how that bracket shakes out. And finally moving over to the 1A boys draw. And you got, once again, Holy Trinity there advancing to the semifinals on a first round bye. They will get the winner of the Kings Academy and Anderson Christian, and they will host that semifinal game. So Charleston Collegiate Lowcountry Prep on the other side of the bracket. Holy Trinity's boys, once again, a very storied program in the past. Do you like their chances of bringing home another state championship this year?
I do. They've had a very solid season, and looking at the competition they're playing, they should be favorable. Being at home for that second round game is going to be huge, especially because the Kings Academy and Anderson, whoever wins out of that bracket, the travel they have to do to come down to Buford to play is going to be a factor. Getting that first round bye, so not having to play until Thursday, so getting 4 days of rest is going to be huge as well. So I would not be surprised if they are playing for a state championship and if they come out as champions once again.
Well, we wish them the best of luck and all of our Skeeza squads as we get things rolling. It goes by quick, 1 weekend, and it's over. So we're getting to the last few episodes here of this Loco soccer season. If we get a team, we'll have a good chance that we'll have teams playing on Saturday, but maybe we'll do another show on Friday just to preview those state championship matchups real quick on the ski side, and then maybe potentially a Beaufort High state championship clash. So I'd love to have another show before then, if we could do that on Friday, just to give a quick preview of those state championship matches before we put a bow on this high school soccer season. But of course, so much more to look forward to with club soccer and a lot of other developments this summer. But been a great high school soccer season so far, and we are at the climax. We are at the most exciting section of the season this week. And before we wrap this up, before we get to our stars of the week, I want to give a shout out to the Bridges Prep boys for putting on a tremendous year over there in Class 1A. The boys beating Charleston Collegiate 2-0 in the playoffs, and then falling 3-0 to Southside Christian. But what an impressive run over there from Bridges Prep, and then good to see Ridgeland Hardyville, also Ridgeland High School, the Ridgeland Jaguars getting a victory as well in the playoffs. So a lot of South Carolina High School League squad, the Beaufort girls also getting a 3-1 dub of Brooklyn Casey. So all in all, a great showing across the board for several of our Lowco teams. Of course, I mentioned May River at the top. The girls, the upset over Myrtle Beach. So a lot of teams to be proud of. But Bridges Prep, a great story. Great to see how that program is continuing to build these last few years.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about, winning the first round game, getting that monkey off your back and getting that first ever home playoff win at home. And then they played a very tough team in the second round. We kind of talked about it last week that was going to be a difficult matchup. Same thing for Ridgeland, getting a big win at home against Timberland and then going up to face the powerhouse Magnet, losing 3-0. And from what I was told, Ridgeland played a very good game. They were competitive for most of the match. Just, when you play a stronger side and when you don't have the strength of schedule that you have, and you're not used to playing these stronger teams in the non-region, as we see with Ridgeland's schedule and Bridges Prep schedule, then that's where these things come into a factor. But I think it's been a great season for high school, our public high schools, in terms of the local representation. I want to say this year we had more teams advance from the first round than last year. Certainly with the Beaufort boys going to lower state championship, our boys going to third round, even on the girls' side, May River girls, Bluffton girls going to the second round before losing to AC Flora. Beaufort girls also going to the second round as well. It's been a progressively successful season for our public high schools in the playoffs, and now we're all kind of just joining together and rooting for Beaufort Eagles to kind of go all the way. Just know if they make it to the state championship, I will be there Saturday. So we will have coverage of that, whether it's just me, myself, whatever. But we're hoping that, we have a lot of local teams next weekend, and we'll do a podcast Friday. I'll commit to it if you commit to it. Absolutely. And then we'll get our producer to do it. We'll do a Friday one, and then hopefully we'll do a Sunday championship edition with all of our championship local teams.
Would love to crown as many state champions as possible, and extra special if the Beaufort Eagles can finish the job. But one thing left to do real quick as we approach an hour, and that's very quickly to name our 3 stars of the week. This might be the last one, but if we have a lot of state champions, maybe we'll do another on Sunday. But the attacker, defender, and goalkeeper that's really impressed you this past week.
So I'm going to go with attacker. It's going to be Beck Stratton from Beaufort High School, having a hat trick against Dreer in the lower state semifinals this past Friday, kind of leading the charge in Beaufort's win against Dreer to give them a spot in the lower state championship game. Coach Rollins talked about him and all his other senior leaders that have kind of stepped up this season and the goal they have in mind. And I think he's going to be a factor against Waccamaw Monday night. If they want to get out of Waccamaw with the win and clinch a spot in the state championship, he's going to step up big time and have another big performance as well. For defense, I'm going to go with a team. The JP2 boys finished the season 3 games this past week, only allowed 2 goals and had a clean sheet this past Friday in 3 games. That's a good way to get ready for the playoffs. Spoke last week, they had a little bit of a rough patch with some of the public schools and everything, but they've kind of bounced back and kind of gotten back on track right in the perfect time for playoffs. So kudos to them. And then for my goalkeeper of the week, I'm going to give love to Maddie Hahn. We interviewed her last week, but she was instrumental in the clean sheet win upset, actually. I mean, correct that, the upset against Myrtle Beach at Myrtle Beach this past Thursday night that got May River girls into the 3rd round. So who are your 3, Wes?
Well, a lot of tough choices as I looked to which players I'm going to honor. And I will start with the attacker, and that's going to be Hollis Melnick of the JP2 Golden Warrior girls soccer team. 2 goals and an assist in the win over Carleton Prep, and then also added an assist in the most recent game that she played against Hilton Head Prep. So a very solid performance by Hollis Melnick and this JP2 team as a whole, which I definitely think could they definitely have the talent to sneak up on Hilton Head Prep. I think it is going to be one heck of a game if that's the matchup we get for a spot in that state championship between Hilton Head Prep and JP2, and looking very likely at this point, especially when you have that elite goalkeeping in net from Trinity Grace Maxwell, who has just been an absolute stud all year. 15 more saves against Hilton Head Prep. She is going to be a problem if we see a rematch between those two teams. So cannot wait for the potential of what we could see there. Melnick, one of just a couple of tenacious GP2 players that have really impressed. Then that defense from Lauren Winiger, Julia Delgado, Abby Brock, and Brady Mahoney have also been great, and they've been getting like contributions from other players as well. Emma Sauls, Alvin Mennick, Ayla Reynolds. So it's been a really impressive climb for the JP2 Warriors, and they are not done quite yet. So excited to see a potential matchup in the semis on Wednesday. For my defender, I'm going to go the entire Beaufort High back line to hold playoff teams to just 1 or 2 goals in a game. That's going to take a lead effort from everybody on that back line. And getting up just 1 to Swansea, 1 to a very good Dreher team, and then just 2 to Georgetown just speaks to how great that back line has been. And I'm sure Coach can attest to that as well. So defending is a huge part of what makes a championship team and what produces a team that goes in a long playoff run. And this group has certainly brought it from the group of strikers, midfielders, and then that back line, which has been tremendous all playoff long so far. So let's see if they can keep it going at Waccamaw on the road. And then for my goalie of the week, I'm going to go to your Maver Sharks and honor the Nordic Wall, Syl Brors, who came up clutch in the penalty shootout to save the day for the May River Sharks as they picked up a postseason win this past week, a tremendous victory over there on the soccer pitch as they come out victorious to get to that third round over West Florence, winning in penalty kicks in dramatic fashion. And just talk about a clutch performance from Brorson and that entire Mirror team to get done penalty kicks and just the atmosphere. The celebration is something that you're going to remember for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. He had 3 saves in that penalty shootout, but he's had 8 penalty saves this year. 1 during the game, and then we've had like 4 penalty shootouts this season, and he's had 8 total penalty saves. That's a lot for a goalkeeper, especially a goalkeeper who's only played for a few years. You'd be surprised. This is his 3rd year playing soccer. So he's been great. He's a senior. We're going to miss him, let him go, but he has had a phenomenal upside. So definitely a great career. But yeah, that was definitely a fun, memorable night, and glad we could get the win that night.
A great moment for him to end on, and a great moment for us to end on this episode of Lowco FC. Well, this is it. This is the last week of the high school soccer season. It's flown by once again this season, but cannot wait for all the excitement we're going to get in the coming days. And as you mentioned, we're going to have another show on Friday to preview hopefully a couple of championship matchups on the ski side and maybe even one on the public South Carolina High School League side if Beaufort High can take down Waccamaw on the road on Monday. So we thank you all for tuning in. It's been a fantastic show. Once again, our special thanks to Terry Rollins for an incredible interview. We appreciate him taking the time before a big match tomorrow. And, of course, we thank all of you for joining us here on this Sunday night. So for Misael Garzon, this is Wes Kerr. Enjoy this final week of high school soccer action. Until Friday, go Lowco.
The Lowco FC podcast is a production of Lowco Media LLC and Lowcosports.com, providing grassroots local sports journalism in the South Carolina Lowcountry. To become a sponsor of this show and market your business or organization to our audience, send email to lowcosports@gmail.com. That's LOWCO sports@gmail.com. You can also support us on Patreon at patreon.com/lowcosports. Your monthly pledge will help us continue to provide great grassroots local sports journalism.